The dinner reservation popped up on our smart speaker. I took the table for two. Hook. The smart speaker in our kitchen chimed at 6:30 with the cheerfulness of a lyre. Reminder, it said. Dinner at La Fina for 2, 8 p.m. I hadn't asked to be reminded. The reservation sat in the calendar we share because I handle the invites and the points and the art of making time behave. My husband had forwarded it to another email earlier. He'd misaimed the loophole. The voice read the name on the booking, my husband, followed by a +1 who wasn't me. The device cheerfully advised in Uber. My name is Jamie. I'm 35. I write copy that sells kindness as a feature. My husband is Raphael. He designs lighting so restaurants can practice romance on strangers. 4 years married, we are magnificent at civility and mediocre at heat. Coffee where a hand will find it. The good glasses used even for water because ceremony should pull its weight. A kiss on the doorframe like a receipt we don't audit anymore. We are very good at not breaking. Sometimes we are a little lazy about bending. I went. Of course I did. I arrived early and told the host, "Hail, table for two," the way you do when you've decided to occupy the seat that thinks it can do without you. He smiled the industry smile and led me to a corner booth, a lush red apparatus designed for confessions and seafood. He didn't flinch when he saw a third person approach 10 minutes later. The third person had sleeves rolled to the degree statutes debate, a white shirt that had been told it was welcome everywhere and believed it, and a mouth that would be forgiven in fluorescent light and worshipped under anything warmer. "Mateo," he said when he reached the table, not offering a hand. "I'll wait at the bar if that makes your math cleaner." Raphael was behind him, jaw wired to say something useful and cautious. He didn't touch me. That was new and almost enough to make me forgive him for everything else. His mouth did the wreckage I'll always love him for. No rehearsal, truth trying to find a chair. "I was going to tell you," he said, "the line cowardice and bravery share custody of." "Tell me here," I said, and the red booth pretended to be a witness. "You kissed him," I said once the water arrived, because small things hold you up while big things organize themselves. "Twice," he said, refusing to redeem himself with a performance. "Once because I wanted to be chosen without auditioning. Once because I wanted to hurt us hard enough to move. Both times I thought of you. Both times I kept going." Mateo watched that land like weather. He didn't rush to narrate. "He told me your name before we fell asleep," he said. "He told me I was a test he meant to fail. I told him I'm not a proctor." "Do you want me to leave?" he added. And it's still astonishing how erotic a decent question can be when it means itself. "Yes," I said, because speed is the only mercy strangers deserve when furniture is preparing to testify. "Thank you," I added, because my mother is a religion, and I won't drop it in a restaurant. He nodded. As he passed, he brushed the edge of the booth and did not touch Raphael's knuckles. The punctuation withheld was respect. The bar swallowed him. Dinner did its little theater. Bread that pretends to be generosity. Olives that audition for elegance. We did not order the oysters. We did not need props. He told me the short version of the long story, donor drinks, a text that arrived like permission, a storage room where silence is a skill, a hotel that made privacy look modern with glass. He said Mateo's name twice and mine like a metronome until the square under my sternum remembered its job and clocked back in. We left before dessert because performing appetite felt like an act of war. On the sidewalk, the city tried to narrate itself. We ignored it. On the walk home, I did the thing we've invented when the room needs a tool instead of a witness. I stopped at the hardware store and bought a roll of blue painter's tape. Back in our kitchen, I tore off a small square and stuck it to the window. Above it, with the pencil that lives by the calendar, I wrote 807. Ritual, 4 minutes of breath with his palm where breath listens. 3 minutes of inventory, 3 facts, 2 fears, 1 want. No prosecution. Water in the good glasses at 8:20 because small noises prevent larger ones. We hadn't needed it in months. That was pride, and pride is lazy. Tonight, I said, even if we're late, we make a new 807. He nodded with the obedience he saves for things he intends to do. At 3:15 the next afternoon, my phone buzzed a push alert no app will claim. Listen to 11 seconds of water. Present/bus stop, I texted. Present/rigging, he replied, which is lighting for I'm up where the weight is, making sure nothing falls on you while you walk under it. At 6:02 the doorbell made its unambitious sound. Through the peephole, white shirt, criminal sleeves. I opened the door because peephole ethics is smug and I am not. Mateo held up a small envelope and a larger silence. I booked the room, he said. He didn't pay, these are the points back. He handed me a printout like a man returning a hostage wearing a better coat. I'm out of your story. Do you want me to leave? He added, doubling down on the only charm I trust. Yes, I said, thank you. At 8:07 the square did its job. Raphael put his palm in the small of my back and my lungs obeyed like a forgotten employee proud to be rehired. The city outside gave its affidavit, sirens practicing remorse, elevator cables deciding, someone laughing like survival was a coupon code. We didn't narrate, we counted. At 8:12 inventory, his facts were facts, his fears were not cowardly, his wants said my name like a job description. Mine matched. At 8:20, the good glasses clicked. Water made its humble hymn. The erotic part wasn't the booth or the hotel room or sleeves rolled to statutes. It was instruction done with tenderness. It wasn't tidy. Twice that week he was late and the old monologue in my throat got dressed for a stage that didn't want it. I made it sit by the sink and listen to the refrigerator sermon about patience. Once, outside a florist, I saw Mateo with a man whose earrings looked like punctuation marks. He lifted 2 fingers, weather, not invitation, and I nodded because spite is expensive and I intend to retire loved. We fought, competently like adults who own a rug. I asked why applause keeps dressing up as oxygen inside his chest. He asked why I polish dignity until it slides. I said I'm tired of writing copy for us that reads like compliance. He said he forgot he could ask me for noise. Our sentences were small and heavy and refused to audition for theater. He said Mateo's name without flinching. He said mine like an address he won't sublet. The restaurant sent a survey. How was your dining experience? I typed. Your lighting is complicit, your water is honest. We're moving the ritual to our kitchen. I read it to him at 8:20. He kissed the hinge of my mouth like feedback should be taken physically. We made customs at the border of home. When one of us turns the key, he says, I'm in, out loud, because present is sexier than sorry when it's honest. The hallway light has a sensor now. It wakes when we break the air. If one must be late, he texts present place. The lock clicks like a paid witness. We treat it kindly so it keeps telling the truth. One night he took me to a build-out, a dining room skeleton half-paneled, the kind of underbelly where competence lives. He tuned pendants until plywood glowed. Walk with me, he said, which in our marriage means I want to be seen doing my work without applause. He placed my hand on a dimmer and told me to turn until the table felt like a secret that didn't require shame. Clean. Explicit enough to teach Wood our names. The security camera bowed and retired. There were relapses. A late message from a donor disguised as a brand. A morning when I answered his inventory with a joke and had to apologize with my mouth instead of my copy. Each time the square was there, corner curling, adhesive smudged, still doing its job. Some nights we were saints of breath. Some nights the window forgave us by being glass. People ask, under misbehaving streetlights and over sinks and in bathroom lines, whether there was a villain. They want me to say a man with forgiving wrists, or a restaurant that flatters betrayal, or a husband who outsourced urgency to a reservation. The truth humiliates us evenly and therefore helps. The villain was the version of us that treated heat like an errand and romance like a feature. The miracle is repetitive and small. Knock on our own door. Say where we are, put a palm where breath listens, count to 60, try again. The erotic part wasn't a red booth or a white shirt rolled one button too far or a glass wall pretending to modernize privacy. It was water in the good glasses clicking like an alphabet we finally decided to learn. It was my name in his mouth at the window's blue, spoken like rent paid on time. It was the public palm at the back of the heart. Quick. Nothing for cameras. Everything for the animal I am. Last week the smart speaker chimed again at 6:30 with the same cheer but a different sentence. Reminder, dinner at home, 8 p.m., table for two. I hadn't put it there. Raphael had, and he'd added a note I could hear in his mouth. Practice staying. It is a joke. It is a vow. Tonight at 7:58 I'll set my phone face down like manners are still a technology worth installing. At 8:07 his palm will find the square behind my heart and the tape will remember why it was hired. If we miss, we will do the only miracle repetition makes plausible. Try again. 8:17, 10:10, 11, 11, whenever Mercy clocks in. Somewhere a maitre d' is saying, table for two, to the wrong names. Our door knows our knock. It keeps opening when we ask it to.